will certainly be looked at. I've been looking at them for a long time, and I'm saying, why haven't they been looked at? They lied to Congress. Many of them, you know who they are. They've done so many evil things. I will tell you, I love this country. I love this country as much as I can love anything. My family, my country, my God. But what they did, it was a false narrative. It was a terrible thing. We can never let this happen to another president again. I can tell you that. I say it very strongly. Very few people I know could have handled it. We can never, ever let this happen to another president again. Thank you all very much.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we're going to look at the latest new Q posts. And let me tell you, they are incredible. You guys are going to want to stick around to hear all of the latest news because, as you know, we are the news now. Hi, I'm Craig and welcome to Just Informed Talk. I always like to begin by saying thank you to everyone who's come and hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, and make sure you hit the like button, the little thumbs up button at the bottom of this video if you guys want to see more of this content. So here's where we're going to pick up. It's right where we left off. We left off at Q post 317, or we left off at Q post 3175, and we're picking up at Q post 3176. As always, I would like to encourage everyone who wants to get caught up on the latest Q posts to come here, watch these last few videos. It'll get you updated right to where we are, and that's a good way to get caught up. And also, if you don't know what QAnon is, please come here and watch this video. What is QAnon, the Great Awakening? It'll give you all the information you need to know, how to find the information, how to do the research, so on and so forth. So those are there for you. Today we pick up right here at Q post 3176, as I said, and we'll just go right into it. Here's the first thing, is a post from Q with this graphic. Now, what is this graphic? It actually is highlighting all these different people. Tom Steyer, Joy Reid, Mark Warner, Kamala Harris, Jay Inslee, Elizabeth Warren, and Senator Jeff Merkley, all of which are now running with the same talking point. This is their new talking point that they've been handed down by their handlers or whoever's above them. Trust me, there are people above all these people. Been handed down these new talking point of Attorney General Barr is handpicked by President Trump. So they're going to go after Attorney General Barr's integrity. What they're going to do is they're going to try to say that he's some puppet of President Trump and that he's complicit in all of this as well. So that's exactly where we're at. So the new storyline is basically going to be this. President Trump is still a Russian agent who has installed a Russian attorney general to basically cover for him, which is just insane. But these people, they can never admit to the lies that they've told because it would expose them for who they really are, if that makes sense. Q says, people around the world are waking up to the fact, not fiction, that the corporate Democrat Party politically controlled 6 corporations own 90% media, fake news, is not unbiased journalism, but politically motivated and controlled. Statements, not facts. Think for yourself and stop being a sheep to their narrative. They will be held accountable. Nobody walks away from this. Q. And if you guys saw last night, I spent a long time making this video, quite a long time, but I got it up. And I'm trying to document as much as I can of the previous fake news allegations made by all of these people. MSNBC, NBC, CBS, CNN, BuzzFeed, all of the things that they've said, I want to get into the record. So I'm trying to continue posting stuff like that. And I hope you guys enjoy and go watch that. But it really is something that needs to be said. And also what's great in this video is I have some excerpts from President Trump's speech back in 2013 at CPAC, which is incredible to hear. The stuff he was talking about then, it's the same stuff that we're talking about today. So definitely is something to go check out as a precursor and an informative video to get you like caught up really to where we're at. But look, nobody's going to walk away from this. All of these people who are telling these falsehoods and omitting facts, that's lying. If you know, it's a lie by omission. If you just, make wild allegations and then don't report the whole story. Yes, 6 corporations do own pretty much all the media in this country. That's why it's so important that people are standing up and citizen journalists are coming forward. And it's just really important now, all of what we're doing here. And that's why Q is so important. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. The next one here is Q responding to this post. What is this post? Well, this post gives us these 3 cutouts. First of all, it says, here's what was in one Anon's post, is what the Anon says here. First, it shows you this Daily Beast article saying William Barr is from 2 months ago, I guess, saying William Barr, it says, I can conceive of situations where journalists might be jailed as last resort. Remember that. The people out there who are spreading this disinformation and omitting facts and basically misleading the American people are the ones who could be end up being held accountable. So just consider that and keep that in your back pocket. And then the next part of this post was this older Q post we got back on the 18th. And this one basically just was talking about Mueller. It says Mueller report delay, panic in DC. It says the real panic comes in the form of a last result. This is where we got the plus 21, plus 2, plus 4, which I guessed was meaning that the Mueller report is actually going to come out on the 27th. And that still is possible. So I'm just going to keep that out there. If you guys watch the channel, you'll know I talked about that before. But it says, why didn't POTUS fire Rod Rosenstein after reporting regarding offer to wear wire? Why did Whitaker Barr retain Rod Rosenstein to the end? Who signed off on the Mueller summary report submitted by Barr yesterday? Who signed fraudulent FISA warrants? Who appointed Mueller as special counsel? Who has full control? Optics are very important. Q. Okay, so let's just answer all these questions really quick. Why didn't POTUS fire Rod Rosenstein after reporting after he's reportedly offered to wear wire and entrap our president? Because that was the trap. The snare was to get President Trump. That was the impeachment trap, to get President Trump to fire Rod Rosenstein. Then they could say obstruction of justice, and then they would have a field day. They would have been able to go after him for all types of different crimes. That was the trap. That was the trap. Why did Whitaker Barr retain Rod Rosenstein to the end? Because, again, firing him was the trap. They were setting that trap. They wanted President Trump to fire Robert Mueller. They wanted President Trump to fire Rod Rosenstein. Both those things could be construed as obstruction of justice, and that's what they were banking on. It says, who signed off on the Mueller summary report submitted by Barr yesterday? That would be from, I assume, Rod Rosenstein as the Deputy Attorney General had to sign off on it. I'm thinking that's what it's insinuating. If I'm incorrect, you can feel free to correct me down in the comments. It says, who signed off on fraudulent FISA warrants? Well, of course, that was Rod Rosenstein. He was the one who continued the FISA spying, even though, and he was the one who wrote the extended scope for Special Counsel Mueller, who appointed Mueller as Special Counsel. You guys know who did that. That was Rod Rosenstein. Who has full control? Well, I'm going to say that's probably POTUS and Barr. So optics are very important. So there's what that is. Now, the next one is from Q, basically. It's just saying, the only way to regain the trust regarding equal justice under the law, regarding White House, regarding Intel, regarding FBI, regarding DOJ, regarding Senate, regarding Congress, regarding Five Eyes, regarding our government, of the majority of the American people is to provide truth, transparency, and prosecution of all those who knowingly took part in this illegal, manufactured effort, attempted coup to take down the President of the United States. One opens the door, the Great Awakening, Q. Now, you guys saw in the opening clip of this video, President Trump making the statement saying basically everything that we're looking at here from Q, saying that people did some pretty bad stuff and they need to be held accountable for it. And that just happened today. So this is what it is. And when it says one here and one opens the door, I am few thoughts on that right off the bat. Obviously, it could be talking about like Obama's at the top and that could open the floodgates. But it only takes one person as a part of this to be indicted. Once one person, a high-ranking individual, is indicted, then you're going to have to start looking at everyone else involved, and that will open the door, and that will be truly the Great Awakening. And it is true what Q is saying here is that the only way to provide the American people with the feeling that they can trust their government again is to give them truth and transparency and prosecute these people to the fullest extent of the law for basically trying to enact a coup in our country. These are unelected people who were trying to basically overthrow a duly elected president. Never forget that. Now, the next one here says, listen and watch Sean Hannity today. Well, I had some people who let me know that Sean Hannity was having his radio show today with, guess who? None other than George Papadopoulos, and I believe Mike Pence was on there. But look, I haven't been able to go over the whole show yet. It's all, if you guys want to go watch or listen to Hannity's radio show, I haven't been able to listen to the whole thing yet. I haven't gotten any clips out of it, but I'm going to be watching tonight, and I'll probably I'll be making videos till the end of time at this point. So we'll cover it in the next video of what happens in Hannity tonight as well. So you guys can keep that in your mind. So the next one here is twitter.com. So it takes us to this tweet from John Nassif, which is the full clip of what I showed you when we started. So let's just watch it. This is the full clip of what we watched earlier in the video, at the beginning of the video.
We admire America and we're grateful to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President, when are you going to survey your Mr. President,
Mr. President, so did this turn out to not be a witch hunt after all? You think Robert Mueller did a...
It's lasted a long time. We're glad it's over. It's 100% the way it should have been. I wish it could have gone a lot sooner, a lot quicker. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. And hopefully that people that have done such harm to our country, we've gone through a period of really bad things happening. Those people will certainly be looked at. I've been looking at them for a long time, and I'm saying, why haven't they been looked at? They lied to Congress. Many of them, you know who they are. They've done so many evil things. I will tell you, I love this country. I love this country as much as I can love anything. My family, my country, my God. But what they did, it was a false narrative. It was a terrible thing. We can never let this happen to another president again. I can tell you that. I say it very strongly. Very few people I know could have handled it. We can never, ever let this happen to another president again. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
All right, so there you guys saw it. We can never let this happen to another president again. President Trump calling the individuals involved treasonous. This is stuff we've been talking about here for a while, but for anybody who's like new to this, or you're trying to show this to other people, look, this is one of the largest conspiracies of my lifetime, really. Bigger than Watergate, bigger than and so many other things. But look, this is what we're at. And this was John Nassif, the Twitter account, I guess, saying, a hint of things to come. There are no coincidences. We are told, fire at will, Commander. And this is where we are at. We are in the middle of the storm, guys. Don't forget that. So it says, listen very carefully. Digest the full gravity of what the President of the United States says in this clip. Q. I mean, I got goosebumps. President Trump has finally, and I don't even know if it's finally, because he said this a bunch of times, but he's coming out and saying, look, we have treasonous individuals inside of our government who were formerly, excuse me, I can't say that, formerly in the government, and these individuals are the ones who are going to be held accountable. And just let that sink in. Of course, the next one here, Q gives us this picture, which is of justice being blind. You have the scales of justice here and the sword to protect it here as well. It says, blind justice under the law will return to our republic. There is a reason why a sword is held. Q. It is to protect our republic. And as much as these crazy liberals want to turn it into some socialist dystopia because they enjoy misery and misery enjoys company, we are not going to let that happen. We're not going to let them take over this republic, and we are going to stand up to these individuals who tried to destroy this country. Mark my words. I've been following this for a very long time. I have very good sources, and I can tell you, I don't know any Q or anything, but I know that there is stuff happening every single day. All right, guys? So, yeah, it's crazy. Love it. I'm glad that justice is being served. I mean, I don't love that we have to go through this kind of awfulness, but I'm very glad that justice will be served. So now here's the next one about, I guess this would be under the category of fake MAGA. Interesting. It says, thank you, Anons, for bringing this to our attention. Be careful who you follow. Follow the money. Follow the expenses. Now, what is this all talking about? Well, first, I think they crashed the website, the MAGA Coalition. Let me try to reload it. but I think the Anons basically crashed it, or they pulled the site immediately after being called out by Q, because this website, I guess, was a coalition of different individuals who were involved with different things. But looking more, and the other links kind of draw a picture, and you're like, whoa. So here's the MAGA coalition, and this is from OpenSecrets.org. They report on, dark money, PACs, all that stuff. Where is the money going, basically? Where is it coming from? So now it gives us this MAGA coalition breakdown of their funding, and it says to look at their expenditures, and I'm going to give you a hint. I wonder who could be involved with this. You guys remember Dr. Sebastian Gorka, who was tossed out of the White House? Well, the next thing that Q wants us to look at is right here, talking about him leaving this Pizzagate super PAC. And it talks about how after he left the White House, he joined the MAGA coalition, right? And they say it's a PAC that has promoted conspiracy theories surrounding the 2016 murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich and raised questions about former Hillary Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta supposedly running a child sex trafficking ring. So this is literally telling us and linking Dr. Gorka directly to this MAGA coalition. And then we're meant to look over here at Brian Cates' tweet where it says the MAGA coalition super PAC gave Gregory Saccone combined $60,000 in 3 payments, 2 payments of $15,000 each, and one of $30,000 payment. Maybe there needs to be an investigation of this MAGA coalition. This is what I think Q's talking about when he says fake MAGA. People are going to try to infiltrate this movement, and they're going to try to act as though they are with us, are for us, but they're only trying to snake their way in, weasel their way in, so that then they can exploit later. And that's what I think Q's trying to keep us aware of. And that's why he's saying, be careful who you follow. And then the next 2 links are pretty incredible. First, you have this, how do you report suspected tax fraud activity? Well, if you guys want, there's going to be a link to this down in the description. You guys can figure that out if you want to make any reports. And not to mention that we also have this one, a oldie but a goodie that Q's given us before, which is how you submit a tip to the FBI. Now, this has been given to us before, and thankfully, finally, after years of cleaning house, I think we can at least trust the FBI and definitely trust the rank and file FBI to take all of this very, very seriously, because this is not a matter of politics. This is a matter of law. When people break laws, they should be held accountable, and that's all that anyone's asking for. We're not trying to try people in the court of public opinion and smear their names like what they do in the fake news. We're just trying to bring justice. That's all. Okay, the next one here, it gives us Politico's story, which of course talks about the judge overseeing the key Jeffrey Epstein related suit dies. Now, Q points to this. It's pretty coincidental. And of course, the guy was 96 years old. So I'm not going to make any insinuations other than Q wanted us to look at this, and it is an interesting story. As we've been talking about Jeffrey Epstein here on the Q boards so much with regard to who was at that island, Rachel Chandler's involvement, how the island was segregated into 2 separate facilities. One was basically some sort of child human sex trafficking type resort where you could basically elites would be, in my opinion, recorded doing things to hurt or abuse, and then they were blackmailed. But then below that, they said there was like an underground place where there was actually some really sick and evil Luciferian satanic stuff going on. But this guy has passed away, and like I said, 96 years old. I mean, it's hard to be, it's hard to say that anything. Then guy was he had lived a very long life. I mean, I hope I make it to 96. Let's put it that way. But yeah, you guys can read this story. I'll leave a link to it if you guys want to get more info on that. Of course, I'll leave a link. The next one says, "You are the news now," and it gives this tweet. Interesting. This is from Dr. Benjamin Rush saying, "At Fox News just put this picture up. Following Q, are you Fox News?" Of course they are. They're hedging their bets. See, Fox is one of those organizations who they can read the tea leaves. They know where this is heading, and they're trying to get ahead of it, unlike all of the other mainstream media companies who are just completely out in their own fantasy land with the reporting. So, of course, this is the graphic that we went over at the beginning of this episode. Q says, "You are the news now." Well, thank you. Now, here's a very good post from the Justice Department saying, it's an article talking about there was an alleged dark web child pornography facilitator who's been extradited to the U.S. to face federal charges. And I am so thankful that we're getting these people and we're putting them in front of a judge, and we are indicting them, and we are going to put them away for a very long time if they are guilty of these allegations. So thank you, Justice Department. And I'll leave a link to the article and the tweet down in the description if you guys want to read about it. The next one here gives us this Daily Beast article, of course, which, I mean, I talked about this before. This moron, this loser, this alleged murderer who was killed some Gambino mob boss has his lawyer saying that he was radicalized by QAnon. What? First of all, if some nut job decides to go and get obsessed with Q and then go do whatever this loser did, that has nothing to do with me or 99.999999% of anyone who follows this stuff. But again, the media will do anything to try to frame us as deranged lunatics when the reality is we're following facts and asking questions. And that's what they can't take, because those 6 big corporations that own everything don't want you to know the truth. They control you with information. So now they're trying to frame an entire movement based off of the actions of one individual. And this happens all the time. So we all have to be very vigilant and aware, and shame on the people making these kind of stories and reporting on it and trying to turn it into something that it's not. I'm not going to give this loser any more time than just looking at this story and saying shame on these people. But then it says, when the constant barrage of fake news attacks fail, those who are the biggest threats. Nothing to see here. Number 2, Q. So this is the evolution of these big, these alphabet soup agency-backed corporations that run our media. This is the example of them coming back and saying, oh, well, if we can't beat them by, attacking them and calling them fake news, then we'll just write stories that say they're radicalizing these monsters. And you're like, what? It is the antithesis of what our country stands for, where you take the actions of one person and then you blame them on a whole set of people, just blanketly, in a blanket fashion. It is incredible the levels at which they'll go to come after people who are involved with this movement. But those who are the biggest threats, I mean, obviously it says here that number 2, what is that referring to? Who are the number 1 and 2 most attacked people by the fake news media? Number 1 is President Trump. Number 2 is QAnon. And you know why? Because we know what they are. We know who they are. We know the lies they tell, and we're picking them apart piece by piece every single day here. And they can't have that. So they're going to do everything they can to try to shut this down, unfortunately. The next one here is a Fox News article which talks about Trump allies awaiting results of 2 internal probes that could expose Russia investigation backstory. Now, this is a story that just came out from Gregory over at Fox News. And this article basically talks about, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read the whole thing, but it talks about the 2 ongoing investigations that could expose what actually happened. And these are the ones that have been run by John Huber and Michael Horowitz, because they're both named in this article, right? And it basically goes on to say that they've been working behind the scenes, as we've known from Q for how long now? They've been working behind the scenes, tracking exactly how this whole Russia investigation started. But more importantly, they're looking into the abuses of the FISA. They're looking into what happened with Hillary Clinton. Who was she involved with? Who were other top-ranking officials involved with? And why were they allowed to get this far with everything? This is going to be, like Q says, this will be the one that really is going to be the thread that unravels the whole sweater here, because this is the nexus of where the illegal activities came in to light with regard to President Trump and the 2016 election. So if you guys want to read that article, I really would encourage you to go check that out. Yeah, that's going to expose everything. And the next one is an anon here who caught something that Q wants us to look at. And if you read through this, first of all, it talks about these 3 screenshots that were posted by an anon who says repost all pics. I know the $60,000 recipient from MAGA Coalition, website gone, however, look who it was owned by, pic related, notice HQ City. So when you put these together, it actually makes a pretty interesting little story. So it shows there was a company called Threat Knowledge Group that was receiving payments out of this MAGA coalition, as it would appear here in this screenshot. Now, what is Threat Knowledge Group? Well, according to this write-up on it, it actually says that all this time it was owned by Catherine Gorka. Now, Catherine Gorka, of course, is the wife of Sebastian Gorka. Here it is. Her name's Catherine Cornell Gorka. So, that's very fascinating. Wow, it's funny how we can put all this together on our own here. And then it says the most interesting part is to look at where the headquarters of this Threat Knowledge Group is. Of course, they're based out of McLean, Virginia. Now, we know about McLean. We've been talking about this on the Q post for quite some time. There is so much stuff going on in that city. And we've actually even talked about the relation to how that city has this high cluster of individuals who are involved with some pretty shady stuff. And yeah, you guys digging on McLean, Virginia, that will be a whole nother video. So that is pretty much everything except for a few things before we go. First of all, if you guys want to help out the channel, for the best way to do it is to come here, click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button if you guys want more of this content. You guys want me to keep doing these videos, go hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Even though it seems that YouTube's like capped my ability to get likes to about 10%. It's hard to get past that. But if you guys hit that like button, that lets me know that you want to see more of this. And that is definitely a cool way you can help. Also, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about all this, and share these videos on your social media to get the word out there. Also, another great way to help us to come over here and find me on Patreon, patreon.com. And basically, there'll be a link in the description. You come here, click this button, become a patron. It's a monthly donation. Set it and forget it. Know you guys are helping this channel stay alive and keep going. And I really appreciate it. I could not do this without you, so thank you so much for your support. Also, I have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time donation. Anything helps, and like I say, I can't do this without you guys, so thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really, really am thankful. Now, of course, here you can also check me out on Twitter at JustInformYou, at JustInformYou on Twitter. It's the official tweet central for me, and you guys are going to want to go check that out because a lot of interesting stuff there, and all the videos get posted, and you get all my great, funny, insightful, thought-provoking tweets as well. Now, of course, you can come find me over here at justinformednews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk. We have links to all the Q stuff, how to get involved there. You have links to different websites that give you a good start for news, and you have links to these different breaking news feeds with news articles that are just coming out, and you get all the videos from the YouTube channel as well. So, with that being said, I want to take a second and talk about the most important thing. We do this at the end of every episode. It's called God's Grace is Greater. It's a segment we do here where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. So for this episode, for this segment, I want to do a piece of scripture out of 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 through 17. And it talks about the world, a warning about the world. And I think these words are very important to share with you guys. I think it's important that we all hear this. It says, "Do not love the world or the things that belong to the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in him. For everything that belongs to the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride in one's lifestyle, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world with its lust is passing away, but the one who does God's will remains forever." That's it, guys. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I can only speak for myself. Sometimes things in this world seem important. And of course they are, to a degree. But there comes a point where you have to make the realization that everything we have is through God. Everything we have is from God. Every single blessing and gift and the piece of greatness that we have, the good and the bad, Not just the great stuff, the good and the bad. Everything's from God. We put our lives to God. If we do that, then, as it says here, it says the one who does God's will remains forever. Because never forget, the world with its lust is passing away. Everything, it will fall to dust. But what will remain when all is said and done is your love for God, your eternal faith in God, God's eternal faith in us. So remember that when you go out in the world. And that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. Remember, if you haven't already, please come here, click the big red subscribe button. It helps out big time. Make sure you hit that like button if you guys want to see more of these videos. And I'm going to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.